And welcome everybody to the 2024 Formula One World Championship Round 2 from Saudi Arabia. And this is a very fast circuit. We're going to concentrate on the racing. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to concentrate on the Red Bull. That's what we're going to concentrate on, probably. But as always, we will do a quick race review just so people know what the hell's going on. Hello, Geo Sam. Thank you so much for being here. Vroom. A very astute comment, considering this is a racing show. Okay. Oh, and one of my experts has dropped out, but there we go. He's the technical computer expert, by the way. Okay, so moving on, we're going to quickly do the race review until he comes back. And here we go. Saudi Arabia, race 2, a nighttime race. One of the fastest circuits on the calendar. Certainly in the top 3, as I remember a quiz question asking about. But there we go. Max Verstappen on pole. Charles Leclerc, a brilliant second place. And Perez, third place. Second place, of course, is at disadvantage on this circuit because it's not the main line, so the grip is slightly lower. However, Max got away to a flyer, slightly faster than Leclerc. Perez also got to a flyer, steamed round the outside into the first corner, but then Leclerc forcefully went round the outside in second corner and took the line into the third corner. Brilliant bit of racing by Leclerc. And then Alonso and the two McLarens. Lando Norris almost had a false start. He just jumped the line slightly, but managed to get the brakes on before the lights went out, and so it was deemed not to be a jump start. As I said, Alonso really being quite cheeky up there at the front, and also racing against Piastri, but taking advantage really there. As I say, Norris taking that false start, but not being awarded a false start. Behrman was in the race. Behrman driving a Ferrari. He's the reserve driver for Ferrari. He has a title challenge in F2. He's a current F2 driver. But this weekend he didn't race in F2. He raced a Ferrari. Did incredibly well, considering he'd never driven a Ferrari before. He was put in on Friday practice. He only had Friday practice for an hour and then qualified 11th, very close to making the top 10. Anyway, there we are. He did very well. Lance Stroll crashed out lap 6, hit the inside wall, which he also did once in practice as well. Can't really be too surprised. That triggered everybody into the pits. Max Verstappen first, in, out. A superb double stop there by Red Bull. And then Ferrari, as Leclerc getting held up, unfortunately, probably ruined his race. When Perez came out, he also got in Alonso's way. Alonso had to slam the brakes on, so Perez was given a penalty, 10-second penalty, I believe it was. Is that right, Fabio?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 seconds. Yeah. Because 10-second penalties is what they're giving these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's what it is. 5 seconds was not long enough, so they doubled it to 10 seconds. Like that's going to make the difference. But we will talk about penalties a little later. And let me just say hello, Gio. Yes. Was champagne opened on the podiums? I probably doubt it. It wasn't champagne, no. I think they used grape juice.
It's rose water.
It's rose water, yeah.
Rose water, okay. Fizzy rose water?
Fizzy rose water, yeah.
Fizzy rose water. Anyway, onwards, as I say. The racing was a little boring, to be perfectly honest. There wasn't many overtakes, in the region of 24, I think, and one driver managed to get 4, which was Behrman, and that was the maximum number. So actually, there wasn't a lot going on. Behrman came back through the pack because he didn't get away to a brilliant start, getting past the Hasses. The Hasses were then due to cause a bit of turmoil. I would say. Magnussen really forcing and being extremely aggressive, got a penalty. I think he was taking Tsunoda. He hit Tsunoda out, is that it? Went round the outside. Anyway, forced Tsunoda off the track, got a penalty for that, 10 seconds. That put his race in jeopardy. And unfortunately, he then also had a little set to with No, I think actually he no. Anyway, he and I had another issue with another driver, got another 10-second penalty. That then forced him to go back up the pack in order that Hulkenberg, his teammate, could get in and out of the pits ahead and score one valuable point for their team. A little controversial, and this is one of the reasons why we will be talking penalties today as part of the breakdown. Are they long enough? Are they good enough? What happened to the old penalty? Why brilliant night.
Samu, sorry, check your mic position. You're cutting off.
I'm cutting out, am I?
Yeah,
Okay. 1 2 1 2 testing testing.
yeah, a little bit better, but yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for that. So, yeah, as I say, Behrman coming through the pack did really well. Managed to get up. Daniel Ricciardo spun out again, had a dreadful session, and that puts his seat in doubt now. Then Max Verstappen won the race, as always. Perez second place, Leclerc 10 seconds behind that. Piastri, Alonso, Russell, Behrman, Norris having had some problems. Hamilton in ninth, very disappointed. Hulkenberg that final point in 10th place for what was a success for the Haas team. Also worth noting as well that Behrman did actually clip the wall a few times, so he got lucky a little bit, but at the same time kept a cool head and managed to bring it home. So there we go, and that is the race review. Max Verstappen getting another 25 points, leading the championship by 51 points to Sergio Perez's 36. Leclerc the nearest with 28. So thank you very much. And now over to my Italian expert. And I'm going to say my, because it's my channel.
Okay,
let me get
fair
the right
enough.
banner up, because there we go. Over to you, Fabio, the Italian expert. What
Yeah,
say you about Behrman, a British driver?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's like the scorpion. I mean, all the poison is is in the tail. But no, I mean, I don't have too much to add on the race. Actually, I was a pretty boring race, as you said. The only other things that you might have missed, Alpine was, still shit. Mercedes, seems to be, really bad car. I don't know, but anyway, Ollie Berman. Ollie Berman was the surprise of the weekend. He was lucky of being in the right place at the right time because Carlos Sainz started FP1, FP2, then he had to to be rushed to the hospital for an appendicitis. He has got to be under surgery really quick, and Giovinazzi wasn't there, Schwarzman wasn't there, but Berman was there, because he had to race the F2. So he said, you know what, jump in the car. And he jumped in the car in FP3 and then made the qualifying. And it was honestly astonishing, for an 18-year-old guy. Keep in mind that I think he made the pole in F2 and his lap in F1 was, I think it was something like 14 seconds faster than his lap time in F2. So just think about it, how you got to adjust to the speed of the F1 compared to anything else you've been driven, right now. 14 seconds, on a single lap. But he managed to do that. He was quite cool in the race. He engaged Tsunoda, for a little bit. He wasn't really skilled on using the electric part of the car. He said after the race that he learned how to do that by following Hülkenberg, because he realized that he was using it in the wrong way. He didn't fully grasp the fact that when you use it, you got to take one lap to recharge the battery and then go on. So by following Hülkenberg, he made during the race, he made a crash course on how to use the battery, which speaks volumes about the guy. But the thing which really impressed me was I can't remember if it was during the FP3 or qualifying. He made the first lap it wasn't really that good. You know, you got to get acquainted with the car and all that stuff. The second time lap, it was already there. That really, really, really impressed me, and I think I wasn't the only one being impressed. And I'm talking about the drivers. I don't I don't think that the fact that Lewis Hamilton after the race, went and helped him and congratulated him. Norris apparently did the same. Russell was there. Uh, when you're a driver, you smell the fast guy. In '91, when Prost was testing the Ferrari, after I don't know where the tests were. I can't really remember, but he stopped and he went to his engineer and he asked, "Who is that guy in the Jordan? Because he's really, 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 really quick." And that young guy was Michael Schumacher. The drivers, they really feel the fast guy. It's like like a pack thing, with wolves. They smell each other, and yeah, I think it was really impressive. I mean, it showed his lack of physical fitness at the end. The camera car were really touching because if you look at the driver, in the corners, you will look like Leclerc, and turning left, and he managed to put a head on in the inside of the corner, just to counteract the G forces. And at the end of the race, Berman was totally trashed, and you could see his helmet, banging in the cockpit, like following, G force. He had no neck muscles. He's not used to that.
Yeah.
Despite that, I think it really made a very, very, very good race. And he's only 2 points behind Lewis Hamilton in the championship, if you want to put it that way.
Which is incredible. Yeah. By the way, just to say, Portimao probably was the testing before.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So that's Portugal. And Ollie Berman, like giving up. He's practically, I mean, he hasn't given up, but he's taking a serious hit on his F2 championship this year. Not that he won't win it, but it's not going to be as easy having missed a round. So, you got to take the chances. That's the cutthroat business of Formula One. If you get a chance to drive a Formula One car, you got to be very careful to turn it down.
I don't know. I don't know if this is going to happen. In the near future, maybe it might go to us, but us is not really a satellite team for Ferrari, the same way that Toro Rosso, Visa, Cash App, whatever the fuck is called right now, is for Red Bull. Oh, and by the way, sorry, I forgot to mention. Today, Berman was on an F1 in Fiorano. He was testing the F1 75, so he was making tests today.
Yeah, of course that's is that a ground effect car? I think that's the first year's ground effect car, is it?
And it was the F1 75. I don't remember if it's the. Just give me a second.
I'll let you get to that. Okay, so thank you very much, though. That's great. Berman, of course, is from the Ferrari Academy Drivers Academy, so he's in that vein. With the drivers' market the way it is right now, and with all the ups and downs of whether Max Verstappen will move, nobody can be sure of what's going to happen in the near future, let alone a few years down the line. This could be good news for Ollie Berman, or it could be bad news. So we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. We will talk a little bit about the Red Bull situation. Did you find that? Or
the F1 75 is the car which raced in 2022. So
that's the first ground effect car.
Yes,
I thought it was. I mean, that's the best practice, of course, and the more practice he gets in that, the faster he'll be in an F2 car as well. So there we go. Over to Lucky, please. What was your thoughts about the race? And if I may say, how did our man do? I'll let you introduce it your way.
Armand Lesage, Logan Sargent. A very, very quiet weekend. Similar to last week, in fact, apart from him not messing up his settings on the steering wheel. qualified 19th, second last, which wasn't looking very good. However, at the end of the race, he managed to get himself up to 14th position. Not his highest finish yet, but it's getting there. So it's business as usual for America's favorite Formula One son. No points, no fastest laps. Why is he there? Let's be honest about it. The race itself, God, it was dull, wasn't it? I think that what we found from that race, apart from the usual Red Bull show at the front, is that McLarens are hard to get past. Leclerc and Hamilton, the guys to speak about that. But what else happened in that race that's worth talking about, Simos? Can you think of anything?
Well, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong. That first sector in the Saudi circuits, the first sector in the Saudi circuit is, of course, fast corners, and so for that you need efficient and good downforce. And obviously, the Mercedes does not have efficient downforce because they were being trashed by the McLaren, maybe as much as 0.7 of a second. Go ahead.
Ferraris as well. They seem to be. I'm not sure if the Mercedes and Ferrari are lacking top speed, or is it the case that they've just had to put in so much wing that they can't keep up?
It's slightly the other way around, actually, because the first sector is all about having wing, and second and third sectors are less wing dependent. So Mercedes and Ferrari, of course, have run high top speed with less wing, so they were always going to lose out. What Toto said after the race was, we were surprised that the downforce we had didn't do more. Right, we said in their tests and in the simulations, it looked like their downforce. They had downforce on the car, and they expected a faster sector time. But when it actually got to the race, it just didn't appear. So, as usual for the third year running now, Mercedes are not correlating well with their wind tunnel data and their CDF data. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. What they're going to have to change, their engineers are really going to have to work hard now to not only produce more downforce, but produce more downforce efficiently. That's going to be the key to whether anybody is going to get near to the Red Bulls or not, because once again, the Red Bulls are such a strong package that I don't know how anybody's going to be able to keep up with the development race that Red Bull are going to put in this year. All we can hope is, I guess, from a neutral's point of view, is that the turmoil in the Red Bull team do affect how efficient their upgrades are going to be this year. But looking at the number of upgrades that Red Bull have had, they've had more upgrades than any other team on the circuit, down the pit lane so far. So they've already sprinted off basically to upgrade their car with upgrades that they've had prepared since the testing. So it's crazy running. But we'll talk about that as well. So is there anything else you want to say about the race?
Yeah, well, we're going to obviously. I'm going to have to obviously mention that this young Ollie Behrman guy, Ferrari this weekend or last weekend rather, were again best of the rest, and seem to be holding that position at the moment, pretty comfortably from everybody else.
Well, with Leclerc, right? With Leclerc driving, yes.
Sure, yeah. And Ollie Behrman, he wandered about the paddock looking completely bewildered and like a kid who's about to get on the world's biggest roller coaster, and really impressed. I mean, holy shit, he's 18. I don't think he's probably got pubes yet, much less shaving. Is he a star of the future?
I mean,
that's
probably.
the case.
Yeah,
I think that's maybe the case. Jensen Button apparently is a big fan of him, amongst other people.
I think most people are, because he's already demonstrated what is a fundamental requisite for any Formula One driver, which is to be quick over one lap. You need to just be able to take a car to its limit almost straight away without crashing it. And like Fabio said, he did that on day one in testing. On the Friday testing, within a few laps, he was well up to speed that he could do. Not up to Leclerc's speed, of course, because Leclerc has had a serious amount of practice. But nonetheless, for a rookie, he did incredibly well, and I think that is why the other drivers, especially the British drivers, went over to congratulate him, because it's quite a feat to take a car which is as tricky as a Ferrari to drive and actually put it on the limit and not crash it. And like I said, he did touch the walls a few times, so he wasn't perfect, but bringing it home is a hell of an achievement as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, I
it's
think
not
that
as tricky. I think it would have been way more difficult last year on last year's car. This car seems to be a little bit more easy to drive.
Fair enough. But on this circuit, you're very close to walls at very high speed. Lance Stroll crashed twice. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no. I'm not dissing the guy at all.
no, I realise that. I was hoping you were going to diss Lance Stroll there for a bit of comedy.
Oh, Lance Stroll,
I was going
fuck
to
off.
genuinely. I was going to say, well, she crashed twice on the way to the circuit, yeah?
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, do you really want to talk seriously about Lance Stroll? Because
No, I don't want to
this
talk about
guy
Lance
has
Stroll.
been in
I was gonna
F1 like
bring up-
forever.
I was going
right?
to pass. Yes, I
So-
don't want to talk about Lance Stroll. So unless this is a punchline, go for it.
No, but I mean, we can talk a little bit about Lance Stroll. I mean, Lance Stroll
Sure.
is the only driver which, in recent years, we all know as that in F1 you can't have you can't test cars, right? Lance Stroll is the only driver which spent 1 year on an F1 car that is that boat for him.
Yeah.
And he tested for 1 year on every fucking circuit of the planet. He's the only one in the last, I don't know, 10 years, maybe?
Maybe more, much more.
Yeah,
Actually, more like 20
yeah.
years. Yeah.
Which has been able to do that. So,
Yeah, rumored to be they paid Williams 80 million for that particular
so
honor, right? Williams were paid 80 million by Lawrence Stroll to take one of their cars around the world and race on most of the F1 circuits the year before Lance Stroll joined. Not a current F1 car, of course, at the time.
I mean the previous year.
but but it's still a good one. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a Williams.
Let's remember that the only driver on the grid whose father is rich enough to own an F1 team is, of course, Lance Stroll.
Dad, yeah, Lawrence Stroll.
Yeah,
I think
that's it. That's why he's there, and I think we all know that's the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, my problem is not the fact that he did it. The problem is the fact that he did, and is still worth shit. Because with all the preparation that he had, with all the money that he had, he doesn't have to worry about being fired next year. I mean, he's living the fucking dream, and he's still there. So
okay. Now you see, you're making me defend him now. All right? Because
go ahead.
Actually, right, that first year, he was terrible. Second year in Williams, he got better. Third year when he joined his dad's team, he was actually half decent. Then he got under Alonso and he improved again. He seems to have stalled at that point. I think maybe racing against Alonso is just a little bit too much for him. But then, of course, it would be for just most humans anyway. So there we go.
I love the fact that was your defense to him. I mean,
I know. It's the best I can do.
I know. I mean, I appreciate that, but
I can only say there's one worse driver on the grid, of course, and that, of course, is our Frenchman, Logan Sargent.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, there we go.
And it's only because Mazepin is not driving anymore.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, very good point. Okay, let's talk about penalties, if we may. It's not really been covered because of all the controversy with Red Bull, but this year they doubled the length of the penalties from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. I mean, is that just like pissing in the wind, or is it what? What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. I still don't know why Norris wasn't penalized because but maybe it was, I don't know what, fuck it,
Well,
if I
he actually stopped before
yeah.
the light started again.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, it's probably a problem of the sensors. There is a leeway. I have no fucking
There is,
idea,
yeah,
but
there is,
yeah.
there is.
I mean,
The two different messages came up. First of all, it was a out of position in the grid, and then it
Yeah.
was a jump start.
Yeah.
So there was two different things that you apparently did wrong, but didn't do wrong afterwards.
Well, he's out of position because he stopped again in front of the line. Then it's a jump start, right? Because that way they don't have to give the penalty.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. I think it's really tricky. I mean, I'm not saying that it's wrong. Okay, I'm just saying that it's a really, really tricky precedent.
Yeah,
Because
agree.
if that's true, I mean,
Well,
if you
there is a rule which has been set, which is if you jump start, provided you stop before the go light comes on, if you're
yeah.
within a certain distance of that yellow line, right, then you're okay. And I don't think it's a very big distance. And it looked to me like Norris was over it, but that's the general rule. If you like try to make up for it, slam your brakes back on again, stop the car before the light goes out, right? Then you have some kind of
Yeah.
leeway.
Yeah.
But bearing in mind, people have been given, like back in the 80s and 90s, back in the 90s especially, if you were so much as 3 millimeters,
Yeah.
right, over the
Yeah.
line, you would get a false start.
Yeah.
That was just how that was. If your car was moving any time during those lights going out, you get a false start. So
No,
you
I'm
know,
just saying it. I'm just saying
it's
it's. Oh, sorry.
yeah. Go ahead. Well, just to say it's changed a lot since 20, 30 years ago.
No, I'm just saying it's dangerous because I don't want anybody to go and exploit that thing. Because, when you are, especially in F1, when you have, two cars standing still,
Right.
it is true that the drivers, they look at at the lights. That's true.
Right.
But,
Yep.
but if something moves, you might be forced, to move it again. So
Somebody else could go, right?
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
anybody to exploit that. Say, okay, you know what? I'm trying to fish the guy, by moving a little bit. I'm not moving. The other guy, just so it might be really problematic. But
Again, that has happened. Damon
yeah,
Hill. It happened with Damon Hill once. Okay, I want to bring you back to the penalties. Right? Because to me, this was quite a crucial thing that's come out of this. It's not just that they doubled it, right? It's that Haas used the fact that he had 20 seconds of penalties on one car to hold the rest of the field up in order to let their other car go. And so they had no intention of serving the penalties, right? They'd basically thrown one car away. Now, back in the day, again, back in 2020s, you'd get a 10-second stop and go penalty, and you had to serve it within 3 laps, right? Remember, or a drive-through, right? 2016 up to 2016, I believe, you could get a drive-through penalty, and that was just basically then cruising at the pit limit speed through the pits without stopping at your garage, right? With the 10-second stop and go, you could actually incorporate it into you could actually incorporate it into a pit stop. With the drive-through penalty, you can't stop and do anything to the car. It's a straight penalty. So what I'm asking here is, if drive-through penalties had been available, okay, forcing someone off the track could have been a penalty worth receiving a drive-through, in which case Haas wouldn't have been able to hold up the rest of the field. Bearing in mind now, you're penalising, right, many other cars in the process of one mistake that Magnussen made by forcing a car off track.
yeah.
Right. So, is that real? Are we really doing that?
I don't know. I mean, I also don't know. I just think that they should get back to the to a criteria, something like okay, if you're assigned a penalty, you either serve the penalty in 5 laps or you got a black flag. That's it. Unless it's in the last, let's say, I don't know, 5 laps or 10 laps. It depends on how many laps you give leeway to the driver, to assign the penalty. And the penalty can be, I mean, I would be really democratic about that. I would say, okay, you can either serve, a drive-through or, a 10 seconds stop and go when you change the tires. I wouldn't really care about that, to be super honest with you. But to me, the thing is that it should be served within a certain amount of laps after it has been, declared. And if you don't do that, you get a black flag, and that's it.
Yeah, but with the time penalties, right? They're
Uh-huh.
only given. The rule is, of course, they're given if you pit stop, then you have to serve them in the pit stop, and
Yeah.
if you don't pit stop, then you're given them at the end of the race,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you still have this like leeway, where as long as you can stay out on circuit, you can do anything you want,
Right.
right? So that the problem there is that wouldn't avoid the Haas thing that happened, right? Of Kevin Magnussen slowing down like 4 or 5 cars, right, in order to let his teammate take an advantage.
Well, I don't know. Again, it depends. What I'm trying to say is that when a penalty is assigned, it has to be experienced by the driver. One idea might be, okay, every penalty is that you have to pit, you know,
Yeah,
and stay 5 seconds. And that amount of time, they can also change the tires. I mean, I wouldn't be so strict about that, but you
Yeah.
have got to pit.
Yeah.
And you got to pit in, I don't know, 5, 8 laps, whatever. Just pick a number. I don't really care about that after the penalty is given.
Yeah.
And if it's in the last, let's say that you got to stop after 5 laps. If they give you the penalty in the last 5 laps, that converts into a time penalty,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I
Okay.
think it should be done like
So
that.
we're on
And
the same thing. We're on the
yeah,
same thing
yeah,
here,
yeah,
right? The
yeah.
the point being is you shouldn't be allowed to carry penalties to the end of the race
No,
because that sets up an abuse system. Lucky, what do you think?
It's a difficult one. I'm under the impression that a driver should be given the chance to make up his penalty. So a way of giving the penalty that gives the driver the chance to get that time back is what I'd be looking for. However, they managed to do that. Listen, I posted a video which is to illustrate Fab's point about when one driver goes, the rest of them go. If you want to show it, it's
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Let me do that
it's
then.
not like equivalent to what happened the other day, but it's to illustrate the fact that if one driver goes, more want to go. They get that flash of movement and they want to go. You'll see it if we play the video, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
The-
yeah. Of course.
Sorry, before you go with the video, I mean,
Yeah.
there is a very interesting way that, but it can't be done with F1. But for example, in motorcycles, I'm talking about MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3, and even Superbike. The
Yeah.
penalties are usually assigned by giving the rider what they call a long lap penalty. So in all the tracks where the motorcycle race, there is usually a corner. It's a corner where there is another stretch of road outside the corner, right? That you've got to go through when you're assigned a penalty. So basically, it really depends from the circuit, but you're not making that corner, with the optimal trajectory. But you got to do to make like like an escape route, and go back and get back in the corner. And it's usually, it depends on the circuit, but it might be 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 7 seconds, depending on the circuit.
Right.
That would
That's a
be
good idea, actually. That's a really good idea.
that would be fantastic. Unfortunately, I mean, you can't do with
Can't do
F1
that
because
with
the stretch of road
and you pick the
that
track.
they use for the motorcycle is really tiny, and for
Yeah.
the cars, I mean, you would need something which is as at least as big as the pit lane entrance, just as wide as the car. But that would
Sure.
be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's effectively like a drive-through penalty as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, there you go.
Well,
Let me play this because
yeah.
I've got a couple of other ideas that I want to throw on there.
But I mean, it says, if nothing else, it saves a driver going down the pit road and putting other people in danger, or interfering with pit stops that other teams are doing.
Okay, then let me play this. Then, if you want to commentate over it, Lucky, please do.
Happy 21st, mate, for next week too.
Well, as Fab says, when drivers are sitting on the grid and they see one car go, now this ended up being a complete mess this start. But just died. Have I died?
So let's go over now
to no, I don't know.
Martin Bundle for our exclusive coverage.
The race away,
I'm getting a
pole
spinning
position
death and
for only the second
But anyway,
time in his career.
This is to illustrate, as I said,
The yellow
what
door.
happens
Yeah,
when
Hacken's a
one
long way
driver
forward in
goes.
his start box. He's right on
What
the
happened
very,
here
very
was
front
the
of
start lights
the
failed.
zone that he's allowed to be
If
in.
you probably remember,
Third on the grid.
Murray's
Yep.
counting down the
On
lights.
grid now, well over half a minute already, and that's a long time to be sitting there in neutral, just ticking.
Lights on. 1, 2, 2.
I think
3,
Frentzen goes first, or Hakkinen, one of the
5.
Lights still aren't out.
The lights are still on, and Frentzen has
First
jumped
two
the
go,
start.
the rest start to
Hakkinen has
follow,
jumped the
even though the
start.
lights
Now
were
they
still
on
red.
for a fantastically long time.
Yeah.
There
So
is
it
a
shows that
mandatory period
if
with
somebody
those-
doesn't jump start, it can affect all the cars around them.
Yeah.
for
So there you go.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, okay. So that's one of the dangers with false starts.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, okay. We'll talk about that. The thing I noticed, what I thought was really good actually, was there was a race, an IndyCar race from St. Petersburg at the weekend as well. And in the support race for IndyCar, and NXT they call them, Jamie Chadwick is racing. She did very well. I'm very unlucky to have a crash early on in the thing. Somebody went down the inside of her and forced her to spin, and he was given a penalty for that. She went to the back of the thing because by the time she'd corrected herself from the spin and got back on track, she was now at the back, and she was up at 10th place or something like that at the time. But so a couple of laps later, the 11th place guy that went down the inside and caused her to spin, very ambitious in the middle of a corner, was given a penalty. And the penalty was to drop behind Jamie Chadwick, right? So the car that he took out, right, effectively he had to then go and let them past. Okay, so that was like a 30-second penalty it turned out to be, because by the time she got going she was at the back. So he dropped from 10th place to the back of the grid. I think that's actually quite good. I like that idea, dangerous as it is in Formula One. And this is the problem that we're going to face how do you safely do a penalty? Hence I think that the drive-through penalty is the best solution that has been come up with. But nonetheless, if you crash into a car, then you have to drop behind it, and if that car is out of the race, perhaps you should be, the penalty should be you get taken out of the race. Make it really draconian, so that you don't get these spats anymore. Maybe that's taming the race a little too much. I don't know. My best feeling is that the drive-through penalties should be reinstated, and you should have to take the penalty within 3 laps of the penalty award. Fabio, you don't think that's like what you were talking about? Because it's too strong, or because I don't know why, but it's driving on a different piece of track to everybody else. So
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's really problematic because if you force, so you can't compare a 5-second or a 10-second penalty with a drive-through or whatever, because it's gonna be way more than that. So if you stick with the 10 seconds, I can see that is going to be added to the total time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
really complicated. The reason, I mean, I put a video in the side chat. It's
Okay.
2 minutes long, but you can air like a minute or that. It's what's happening in MotoGP right now, which is
Oh,
the
I see.
same
Yeah.
Moto2 and Moto3 and Superbike,
Yeah.
and the rationale behind it and how it is implemented. I think might be interesting. Just to air for a minute or something,
Hmm.
just to give an idea. Unfortunately, it's got. I mean, it might be feasible in F1, right? It might be feasible. I mean, they only need to make that a rule, and and the circuit have got to act accordingly. It's not like they have to make another stretch of circuit. In this case, the long lap penalty is just the outside of a very problematic corner. That if you take it, on the
Yeah.
outside, you're going to lose a lot of time. So
Yeah.
I guess that would be a really, really, really good idea, And again, depending on how you implement it in every circuit, you don't even need to make a specific part of the corner, another part of the track.
Mm.
It might be, the external part of a very, difficult corner that nobody takes, external because you're going to lose so much time.
Yeah.
Like in this case, you see, I mean, there is like another piece of track, and that's it. That's all
Yeah.
there is. You got to keep the bike inside the two lanes, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I like it wouldn't wash in Formula One for me, and I'll tell you why. Safety. People will. Oh, dead again, Dave. Hello, mate. Nice to see you. We will get to that shortly. We will get to that question shortly. Let's just finish on this little section here. I hope I didn't kick Lucky out. Anyway, no, I don't think that would work because of safety. So you couldn't have people driving around the outside of the corner in case people were racing into the corner at the same time. So I just think that is yet another. Oh my God, people, we don't want to do X, Y, Z.
Well,
So I think you need to do it. Like I said, the problem is implementing penalties safely in Formula One. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, on that point of view, I'm not really. I don't really agree with what you said, because Okay, let's go back to the example in MotoGP. When you're assigned a penalty, you've got to take that part of the track, right?
Yeah.
The only rule is that you got to be between the two lines.
Sure.
But you can make it as fast as you want or as slow as you want. It doesn't matter. So that actually, in some circuit, has become, even more interesting because there are some riders that take long lap penalties like there is no fucking tomorrow. And some of them, they actually took it and, went outside the white line. So they have to retake, the long lap penalty.
Yeah.
So it might be way more interesting than what you said. But again,
Well, what I said, just to be clear, is if someone is taking a long lap penalty and there are another two cars racing through the same corner, right? If they're on the outside, that's against the safety rules of the circuits currently. You can't have cars racing around the outside of the circuit while two cars are racing on the inside, right?
Well,
if they crash and they take out the car going around the long loop, right, then we're looking potentially at broadsiding again, or say they just fail to brake. There's all of these safety concerns is what I'm saying they are. Not necessarily that it's not a good idea for the penalties and stuff. I just think that in Formula One, safety being the key issue, it's not like the bikes that really can get away with, just hitting each other willy-nilly. And it doesn't actually mean it doesn't mean too much, In Formula One, it's not like that, of course, that they're always looking at problems, etc., etc. Okay, is there anything you wanted to add there quickly? Because we'll just get on to this question.
I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, hey, Simon, it's good to see you, Dave. Thank you so much. I've got a question. Since the world is against pollution and a greener world, will F1 petrol disappear and go all electric? Would it keep its fan base? So, Lucky, what say you?
Oh shit.
Okay, Fabio, what say you?
I'm reading the site chat here. I'm reading the site chat here.
Okay, well, don't read ahead. We can get to
I'm-
the rest of the side chat. Just tell me your
I'm-
opinions on
I-
pollution and a greener world. Will F1 petrol disappear?
I think F1 has options. So the first one is to go with synthetic fuels. That is one option, which would solve the green problem or whatever. They might go electric. I don't know. I mean, and I don't really see a lot of problems. There'll be some fans which might be, which will be disappointed because the noise of the engine. I mean, it's part of the allure of the. There is no question about that. But until it becomes like the Formula E, which is right now, which is basically like the Formula, the kart series in the US. So it's all the same chassis and a couple of variations of engines, which makes basically like a single, chassis formula. If Formula One, doesn't go that way, I mean, it will still be interesting. The only problem that I see is that a lot of the technology that goes into an electric only car is not something that you can really. I mean, if you make it properly, it's not something that you can get from a gasoline powered vehicle. It's totally different. So the expertise and thing are very different. So like a team like Mercedes, for example, or Ferrari, or anybody which has a strong vehicle manufacturing history would not be able to put that expertise 100% into that car. There's going to be problems. Fewer problems now, and they're going to be fewer and fewer, as the future goes on. But yeah, I mean, that might be the only issue. But I don't think there's going to be, a massive problem. Yeah.
Okay, over to you, Lucky.
One thing you need to remember is Formula One engines, in comparison to your road car engine, are extremely efficient. They're much more efficient, and the amount of pollution they give off, I don't think it's quite as bad as your normal cars.
Yeah.
However, there's also other options. There's hydrogen powered cars.
No. Hydrogen is not going to work in an F1 car.
Okay, fair enough. But
No.
remember,
I mean, it's the Zeppelin problem. Yeah.
Let's just call it the Zeppelin problem.
Let's just leave it there.
That's not hydrogen. That's different gas.
No, that was hydrogen. The Zeppelin was
It was actually the same gas.
But no, you don't have to have large reserves of hydrogen. You could potentially use electric power to split water and then feed the engine in a
what burns
relatively safe way.
more,
But,
petrol or hydrogen? I mean, they're both highly combustible,
yes,
and they're using petrol at the
hydrogen.
moment.
Hydrogen is the answer.
Well, hydrogen
I don't know.
explodes way more violently than gasoline. There is no way around it.
Yeah.
So
But
you
let's
can
not. I don't want to get too dragged down on this because I'm looking at time here. Okay, so
one thing to remember,
alternative.
one
Could
quick
you
thing
just-
with the electric cars.
Could you just
Formula
suggest-
E are having to use 2 cars to complete
Right.
races because they haven't got the battery life.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and the other
So
thing you
just-
need to remember is the Formula One circus as a whole produces a huge amount of carbon footprint compared with the cars themselves. And maybe Formula One would be better going down the route of streamlining itself
Right.
rather than the cars.
Yep. Okay. So, so you say no electric, right? That was the question you're going down,
I say
right?
no, right?
Okay, that's good. All right, so let me just try and get through this quickly, guys, if you wouldn't mind. Bub says, welcome, Bub. Good to see you. I would favour going the opposite way, Dave. Going for more pollution in F1 and make it loud and violent. I
Yeah.
mean, we obviously all think the same way. Right, agree. Dave agrees. That's great. Are you really Jeremy Clarkson? Nice. It's a losing cause trying to be environmentally friendly against electric. Maybe. I don't think so. I'll give my say so in a minute, though. Let's get through
I
this.
think that's not.
Funny, Dave. If they go hydrogen, the explosions, Dave. Yeah, thank you, Dave. Good point. Remotely driven cars. Yeah, right. Whatever. They're about as remotely driven as they're ever going to get, even if it costs a lot to have the monkeys in the seats. Expert, I believe the efficient. Oh, no, still got the Italian expert up there. Sorry, mate. Let me just get rid of that. By the way, Fabio's law. Everybody's an idata. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you
Let
for
me
proving
just.
my point again.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cheers.
Remotely driven cars. I believe efficiency is a better MPG on an F1 car. Basically, would stay only as a novelty test for the rest of the world would be electric. Yeah, absolutely. But this is racing. This is not driving on the road. So
Yeah.
I don't really see a conflict there. But what I will say,
Can,
finally, for my point. Oh, go on.
Sorry, can just bring a personal experience about that. How much you're right. I recently sold all my gasoline car. I mean, I had two petrol cars, and I bought only an electric car because I've got solar panels on the roof. It's going to be way cheaper for me and all that shit. But still, I keep my petrol powered motorcycle in the garage, and this is what I take when I want to go on the road and actually have fun. So yeah, I'm with you over there.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. So my personal kind of feeling on this, like Fabio says, synthetic fuels is probably a good way. But in America, of course, they've solved this problem a long time ago. They use ethanol as their fuel, which is very dangerous because it burns with an invisible flame, so you can't see that you're on fire. But I don't see why they can't do an ethanol mix, which we can see the flame, and if so, although you get a lot less thermal efficiency out of an explosion from ethanol, then nonetheless, you could still have a bigger tank and still make the distance required for an F1 race. So I do think that that's more likely the way they'll go. They'll make it synthetic 20% in the near future. I think 2026, they're talking about 20% synthetic. And then they're talking about trying to make it 100% synthetic by whatever date, 2030 or something stupid. So they're already trying to get down that road of getting rid of petrol. And like these are the best engineers in the world, not just in the Formula One teams, but the petrochemical companies which supply these teams also are, the most advanced you're going to get. And if they're trying to work on 100% synthetic fuel, you can believe that there will be one in due course. Okay, Bub says, is nitro environmentally friendly? And Dave says, nuclear. What about nuclear? Good point, Dave. That always works at 250 mile an hour. But anyway, thank you for the question. It's still a big question, is it, Fabio? Yeah. Okay. Why is that? Because of you have to grow them.
Yeah, you have to grow, and then you got to process it. And in order for you to process, you need some form of energy. So
Yeah.
it's. I don't think it's the real answer. It's a good answer right now, but it's something which works in parallel with a lot of other things that we would like to get rid of. But
sure. In which case you're saying, well, there is no way to break that problem then, right? Because even if you have electric cars, you've still got to build the batteries. The batteries still wear out over time.
Yeah.
You still have to mine the resource, the battery. You have to manufacture. They're very toxic. Once they're used up, you can't reuse the material again. There is a limited amount of the special materials you need, the lithium and whatever the neo carbon or whatever the things are made of. So just to say, I don't think there's an easy solution to this at all. And
No, it's not an easy solution. I mean,
yeah,
it's gonna come back to something that is gonna be a compromise,
mm,
because even synthetic fuel, you can produce synthetic fuel at zero impact,
right,
but it's gonna be massively expensive,
yeah,
per liter. It's gonna be super expensive. So it's not a good solution now until you find a good, industrial process to keep the costs down. And the same thing can be said about battery. You can use other things. So you get
yeah,
to a certain point where you got to make a compromise and say, okay, this is the best we can achieve right now, and that's
okay,
it.
yeah, okay. So thank you for the question, Dave. Really appreciate it. That was a good little talking point,
Here's
actually.
something to remember.
Oh dear.
Here's something to
No,
remember.
no, 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 no.
Car-
Let's move on. Let's move on. Move on. Move on. Come on. It is late.
Yeah,
Sorry, Lucky. It's
yeah. Okay. One sentence, Lucky.
One sentence. Cars replaced horses. We still race horses. So whatever happens, we'll still be racing cars.
Yeah, nice. Good way to end it. Thank you. Okay. Kudos to Bearman. We'd love to see him Formula One. Thank you, Bob. We have already spoken at length, obviously, about Ollie Bearman but earlier in the show. I would say please subscribe and like, and if you ring the bell, you'll get notifications. Not, I mean, we were a bit late today as well, just to say. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah, like we absolutely agree, 100%. Kudos to Bearman is exactly the point. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up. I just want to say a couple of things quickly without reply, if I may, which is to say one of the key points about Formula One racing, as everybody here knows, is it's a development race throughout the year. Race to race, these cars will be developed, improved, new parts will be made. Not necessarily the major parts like the chassis, which have to be all individually made each year. But the aero efficiency, suspension parts, these kind of things can be made during the year to improve the car and to gain lap time. In fact, a lot of cars, especially towards the end of the back of the grid, will often improve their lap times by maybe up to 2 seconds in some cases. Although obviously in the state we're in now with the regulations, it's harder and harder to find improvements. But that's why they pay the big bucks to these engineers, because they do manage to find them year on year. So one of the things about the Formula One is not that they just race cars around the track. It's that the engineers race each other to see who can make the best car by the end of the year. And that can make a big difference in some particular championships. Okay, so I just wanted to say that for anybody that was watching. I feel sorry for Fabio having to live under a bridge. Just please, I mean, I'm obviously both Lucky and I know, but could you just tell us what that is in your background?
Well, every so often you will see some really interesting cars. That was the Mille Miglia, I think last year, 2 years ago, can't remember.
2 years ago at least.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go.
There's one.
See?
Yeah.
See? There you go.
Is that an Alfa Romeo?
Oh, I think it was a Triumph. TR7
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, the
Can I
Mille
cover-
Miglia, which is Italian for just do anything you want on the roads without the police pulling you over. Is that right?
No, actually, it's better than that because you got the police escorting you. So, woohoo!
Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, great. Thank you so much for that.
Couple of pieces of Formula One news, if you don't mind.
Yes, certainly. Go ahead.
Okay, first piece of Formula One news is F1 have rejected Andretti's bid to become a team once again. What do you think, guys? Yes, no, maybe?
Yeah, I don't like it at all. But I'm guessing that whoever is at the back this year is probably Alpine, and I think Renault will probably give up sooner than later. So I don't think it'll be a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem so determined to make it into Formula One by whatever means and however much money. So I guess at some point something will happen.
Well, they can get
Whether
their
it's
money
not-
back and still supply the engine, so they won't have wasted everything. If they sell to Andretti, they can supply engines till 2026. So for that 1 year at least, they're going to get some cash back for their engine. Plus, they'll get the investment plus that they made on buying the company in the first place, buying that team in the first place. So I think it's a really smart move for Renault, who don't need the advertising. It's doing nothing for their brand to be at the back of a Formula One train.
Okay, the other pieces of Formula One news, apparently, according to the clickbait titles in YouTube, Christian Horner has been sacked and sent to jail for 1 million years. Jos Verstappen has gone to live in an island surrounded by bikini-clad beauties. And the final piece of news is Max Verstappen and Adrian Newey are both going to Ferrari. It's fucking ridiculous. Have you seen the clickbait shit there is on YouTube just now?
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievably bad.
Every day, depending on who's releasing the rumor, every day it completely changes left to right.
Yeah.
Today I heard that Horner was definitely being sacked, or not definitely. Rumor has it that Adrian Newey is going to Ferrari and Christian Horner is going to be sacked. This comes out from a German paper, and then the British paper says Christian Horner is firmly in place and Adrian Newey is staying. Helmut Marko is being sacked.
Have you heard the U2 connection?
Yes.
Oh,
brilliant.
God.
I was going to do a thing with it as well, because we always used to do, just to fill in people, we always used to do thumbnails with Lewis talking to Bono. And I'd always make out that he was talking to YouTube. And literally, I didn't know that there was a connection.
Have you heard the title of the song that they want to release?
No.
The title of the song. So a little bit of background. I think that the brother. So the lady which has been sacked by Red Bull is related in some way to the guitar player of U2, The Edge. I think it's the brother of his
son-in-law,
sister.
Son-in-law's sister. Or
something. Right. So apparently that was the last rumor. You two are going to go out with a song about the old thing, and that brought a lot of pressure on Horner because of the negative publicity in the US, blah blah blah. The name of the song, I kid you not, that I read is "Don't Be Horny, Be a Christian."
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. I mean, that is the kind of class that you two will come up with.
Right.
Just on the spur of the moment. I mean, Bloody Sunday has nothing on a title like that. And it also goes to show you how much shit is being written in the press, as usual. Yeah. And for once, not the British press. So that's nice to see. That's nice to see. Anyway, there you go.
I'm wondering. I'm wondering. This is actual factual piece of thing about this is why did this girl, if nothing untoward happened, get paid £1 million, $1 million, whatever it was?
Lucky, forget about the girl. The girl is not interesting.
Also, she didn't get paid that.
The girl is the gossip part. But it's like it's a fuse of a bomb which it's been there for a couple of years. So the girl is the least important. I mean, the girl is the gossip part, but it's the least interesting part of all of the whole story.
Okay. Yeah.
There are way more interesting parts. Something that Simon just said before, and I want to keep. I'll keep it brief, 30, 40 seconds. The problem in Red Bull right now, we have Christian Horner on one side, which is the guy which, like it or not, has set up the team has followed the team. He's the one which has contracts with Ford with the engines. In 2026, they're gonna build their own engine, and he's the one which has all the papers on that stuff. He's the one which keeps the team together, and he's the one which is friend with 51% of the company. The Thai guys. On the other part, we have Helmut Marko, which is what? I mean, he was the responsible for the Red Bull Academy, and he's basically also, I mean, his only big result has been Max Verstappen, if you want to be serious. Because, I think he destroyed the career of something like 180 racing drivers in Red Bull. They have no racing drivers anymore. I mean, they had to call, Ricciardo back to put him on the Toro Rosso, on whatever. So, but he's a big friend of Max Verstappen, and that is his main leverage. So,
I think he was also involved with getting Seb Vettel in as well, just to point that out. So he's done it before.
Yeah, but again, it started well, but right now the Red Bull Academy is a fucking joke.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
they don't have any drivers coming through.
Right
now.
right, and the main responsible is Helmut Marko. So his position is only tied to Max Verstappen, which he really likes him because he's the one which brought him in F1. He has he feels for the guy. And in all this scenario, we have Adrian Newey. Adrian Newey is a guy which we all know he doesn't want to move from England. He's really lazy from that point of view. On the other end, he has expressed a lot of time the feeling that he would have loved to go work with Ferrari first. And the second thing, he is on record by saying that one of his regrets is not having worked with Lewis Hamilton. So,
and Alonso.
Yeah, but I mean, also, okay, fuck. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure. So, Aston might be an option. But, I think that if now there is a moment where Ferrari could really pull a move.
Yeah, okay. I just want to say, anybody famously successful are open to that sort of bullshit gossip. Absolutely right, Dave.
Yes.
And that's a lot of what it's about, as Fabio's saying.
Yes,
also, what happened the last time Ferrari got a designer that didn't want to move to Italy, but was so good they had to have them? What actually ended up with that?
A disaster. A fucking disaster.
Okay. So maybe they wouldn't be so keen to do the same thing again. It depends
No. What I'm saying is
depends, maybe it depends actually on whether they're going to give that designer the control or not. The last time, of course, there was two designers, one Italian, one British, and there seemed to be some conflict, both designing different cars. So there's a problem there.
I mean, the three aspects are said. The fact that he doesn't want to move from England, the fact that he would love to work for Ferrari and work with Lewis Hamilton. We got to see if two of those things can overcome the first one.
Yeah,
that's it. Keep in mind, there is also the one of the things that apparently Christian Horner has got some issues with Adrian Newey, and it all goes from the fact that of the budget cap. Apparently, the F1 is because Adrian Newey is a consultant for Red Bull, but that thing might change, and so he's outside the budget cap. That thing might change in the new rules, and Christian Horner wants to push Adrian Newey away from the F1 project and just keep it relegated to the RB17, the hybrid car.
Okay, so let me just talk about that for a moment quickly. It occurred to me that was said and done when Helmut Marko was still on the top three paid people in the team. Get rid of Helmut Marko and you can just replace that guy with Adrian Newey, and he can have 100% of his salary from Red Bull. And it still won't go into the thing. So I think,
know.
This is
Yeah.
this is the positioning that's being made here.
Yeah, but that's
Mm.
another leverage that Christian Horner has. You know,
Yeah.
I can't get rid of Helmut Marko. I mean, I've got to get rid of Adrian Newey.
Yes.
So what do you want me to do? So it's really, really,
Okay.
really,
Let me
really
just
cool.
put this up here. Good night, voice nice chat. Thank you very informative. Good work. Thank you so much, Dave. Good to
Thank you,
see you.
Dave.
Thank you for your
Thanks for
questions
stopping
as well.
by.
Have a great time, and hopefully I'll see you in DayZ sometime soon. Okay. Great. So we're going to finish up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky, did
Yes,
you
sir.
have a chance to do anything this week, or
Did I have? Of course I did. Of course I did.
fantastic? Okay.
Holy shit.
Let's get through it as quick as we can, if you wouldn't mind being good to us this week.
Okay, so
Let me introduce
no-
it. Let me
oh,
introduce
okay,
it.
okay.
I've got to play my little
Jingle
clip.
up.
It's got the jingle. Come on.
Yeah,
Let's go.
those expensive jingles. You might as well get your money's worth.
Exactly. It did cost me a
Yeah.
lot. I had to pay copyright on this.
Wow.
Is it myth or quiz? Quiz or myth? Is it a myth? Is it a quiz? It's a quiz and a myth. Ta-da!
Well, we're going to start off with quiz. It's round 2 of the Formula One Trivia Intercontinental Championship. Now, this is a really easy question. Anybody in chat who wants to join in, by the way, if there's anybody left in chat who wants to join in,
Yes,
please do
please
so.
do.
I can't see it, unfortunately, so you guys are going to have to keep me right.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye. We won't answer straight away. We'll let chat have a go quick first, and then we'll answer. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure. Okay, right. Today I'm looking for the names of 3 drivers, but it's kind of easy because these 3 world champions all have the same surname. Who are they? That's 3 world champions, all with the same surname.
Oh, I think I might know.
I have no idea.
Over to you, Bub. Do you know, Bub? Do you want to write it in chat for us? 3 drivers. I think I know, but I'm not sure what the other guy. Oh yeah, I do know. Yeah, I know. I've got it. Okay. Shall I say it? Yes. Yes,
No,
Dave. You're. Hang on. Yes, Dave. You're absolutely right. It is
Yeah.
Damon, Graham, and Phil.
Yeah.
Well, somebody else has answered it for you. So
No,
I
they
guess
didn't. No, they
well,
didn't.
it
I
kind
just
of
said
did.
I got it, dude. Get
I
up.
think we'll have to. I think perhaps we'll have to share the points.
Someone
here.
else. Who answered it? I was speaking. Who else answered
You
it?
said it was
Please.
somebody in chat that wrote that.
Yeah. And I said, yeah, it is Hill. But just saying Hill wasn't good enough, was it? You wanted the names of the 3 drivers.
I did indeed, yeah.
Right. Are they Phil, Graham, and Damon?
I'd love to give you the point.
Thank
never
you
hear the
so
fuck-
much.
I'll have to give you the
Jesus
point,
Christ.
or we'll never hear
Talk
the
about
fucking end of
fucking
this.
blood
Will
from
we,
a
Fab?
stone. Oh.
Never going to hear the end of that one. Okay,
No, probably
it's a
not.
point to Samus. Well done, Samus.
Thank you very
Correctly.
much.
1961. Fab, just don't, just,
I mean, okay.
I know. I can see it in your face, pal. I can see it in your face.
What did you
Yeah.
say them? Did you say them?
You never
What?
got a fucking chance to
Fabio.
say them.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was just too funny, hearing you 2 guys bickering about this thing. The answer was in the side chat. I mean, okay, you want me
No,
to
the
say
answer
the
wasn't
names?
in the side
Here,
chat.
yeah, of course it's... Jesus Christ.
The name was not in the side chat.
Listen, I know, okay? But
Okay.
once Hill is there, it's
Yeah.
not really, rocket science, right?
Oh,
but,
God, you
okay,
guys.
yeah,
You
but,
guys.
no, it's okay.
That's
Okay.
the point about having chat say it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I
So
know.
I said I got it before
Yeah.
he wrote it in chat. Okay.
Okay, so
Right.
Simos is going to get this point, or we'll never hear the end of it.
No, he won't.
His answer was indeed correct. Phil Hill, world champion in 1961. Then we had Graham Hill, who was champion in 62 and 68. Is that right? 68. And then, of course, young Damon, who's Graham's son, he was champion in 1996. So that's Phil Hill, Graham Hill, Damon Hill. Well done, guys. Now, we are having a slight deviation from normal myth.
Oh,
As you guys probably know, this being the year 2024, it's the 30th anniversary of Ayrton Senna's death. So,
is it really? Wow.
scattered around the myths this year, we're going to have some Ayrton Senna myths. Love him or hate him, he made a huge impact on Formula One. I'm going to stay neutral on this. I'm going to stay neutral. Where was I? So yeah, we're going to have some Ayrton Senna-esque myths. Now,
Yes, go ahead.
the 1984 Monaco Grand Prix, James Hunt was prompted to say, Ayrton Senna has now arrived. And if you don't know the story of the 84 Monaco Grand Prix, it pissed with rain. Alain Prost was in the lead. Ayrton Senna was second. And Stefan Beloff was in third place. This was at the end of 30 laps. Prost was just gesticulating wildly when he went past the start-finish line for the race to be ended because the conditions were so atrocious. And that's what happened. End of lap 31, the race was halted. As I said, with Senna second, Beloff third. Now, there was a lot of controversy about the race being stopped. And Prost got a serious amount of flack for wanting the race to be stopped. He was called a coward. He was called scared that Ayrton was going to pass him. All that kind of nonsense. Okay, but let's have a look at things in slightly more detail. Charlotte, let's just get this thing up here. At the end of the 31st lap, Senna was 7.5 seconds behind Prost. Beloff was 21 seconds behind Prost. However, Senna was lapping at 2.5 seconds a lap quicker than Prost. Beloff was lapping 5 seconds a lap quicker than Prost, which meant that by lap 36, Senna would have passed Prost and gone into the lead. However, if things had stayed the same, Beloff would have passed Senna on lap 38 and gone on to win that race.
Yeah.
Yet, poor Alain Prost was he was raked over the coals for that race, and Senna was he was the guy that Prost was scared of. So, if you had allowed that race to run and things had gone the same way, Beloff would have been the winner and not Senna. Now, just to give you what the hell am I talking about? Yeah, just to give you an idea of how much nonsense this was, in 1991 in the Australian Grand Prix, guess who was going past the pits gesticulating wildly for the race to end? Well, that was Mr. Senna. No, it was Senna. Prost had been sacked by Ferrari at that time, and who the hell? I can't remember who else was driving, but Prost wasn't in that race.
Okay.
Now, as I said, Senna wanted the race stopped, which did happen at the end of lap 16, which allowed Senna to win that race and clinch the constructors' title for McLaren. So, if you're a Senna fan and think that Prost was a coward for ending the race at Monaco too soon, then Senna is also a coward for ending the 1991 Australian Grand Prix as well.
Yeah, interesting. And there you go.
So,
Thou
there you
dost
go.
prost too much about the rain. I like it.
Indeed.
Very witty, Bub. Thank you.
There
Yeah,
you go.
there you go. I think
Just
there's a few
remember,
more things in there, but yeah, the
yeah,
rain stopped very shortly after the race was.
before you
st-
go saying Senna was the Saint Senna from Brazil, he wasn't the saint that people made him out to be. Just
Oh no,
remember that.
far from it.
Yeah.
However, I think the rain did.
So, real quick, I want to know from Lucky,
Yeah.
and I give you 5 seconds.
Oh shit.
Which car Senna was driving and which car Bellof was driving? 84 Monaco.
A Tolman and Tyrrell.
There you go.
Didn't need 5 seconds.
Brilliant, brilliant,
Yeah.
very down. You get a point for that, Lucky.
Yeah,
You're in
you
the
got a
race.
point.
And that
Mm.
that Tyrrell was later disqualified that year because they used lead shot to cheat the weight at the end of the race, if you remember. And it was the only 3.5 liter car that was in that race,
Jesus
non-turbo
Christ.
car that was in that race. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
Yeah, who was Bellof having an affair with that weekend?
Helmut Marko.
Oh God, no, you're wrong. It's Helmut Marko's. Oh no, it was Jos Verstappen's wife.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, look.
And by the way, just
Just let me get my one sentence out.
You can't of it.
You think I'm bad? Come on. Go ahead, Lucky. Go ahead. Sorry.
poor Stefan Bellof, by the way, was killed
Yeah.
in a fiery accident in a Porsche Group C car.
At Spa,
Spa.
was it?
Yeah. Burned to death in the car, I think.
Yeah.
It was a horrendous accident anyway.
Okay, and I won't be cutting this bit out, and we're not going to show it, so don't worry about that.
No, I'm not doing anything.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay, so just to remember, that 84 race at Monaco, the rain finished shortly after they stopped the race. Within like 5 minutes or something like that, the rain stopped. And if they'd let it go through, it would have been, perfectly fine. Everybody would have raced fine. So yeah, it was one of those things. It was a torrential downpour, but only for a short while, leading up to the stop. So it was kind of weird, and that was one of the reasons why everybody was so pissed off. I think because they'd let the race go on that long that Prost could get the advantage, and yet as soon as Senna looked like he was catching because the rain was stopping, then yeah, they stopped the race. So I think there was a little more controversy to it than just Prost going, "Oh, I can't race under these conditions." They had been racing under those conditions for some time, and in fact the conditions were improving. So I think that was some of the controversy at the time.
It could be argued that the actual race stoppage cost Prost the championship that year.
Right.
If you remember, I think in those days there was dropped scores. You could drop a couple of scores, and for some reason, the drop score meant that Prost ended up with less points than he would have for some strange reason. I can't remember why, but it could be argued that actual race and its stopping early cost Senna Prost the championship that year.
Yeah, it cost Senna because it was half points or something. He had to take it as one of his races.
I don't remember exactly what the story was, but anyway.
Anyway, there we go. Thank you so much. So also, who was the moodiest one driver in F1? That's a
Moodiest F1 driver.
moodiest
That's a
F1 driver. Do you think? Just quickly, any guess, random guess. Moodiest.
Helmut Marko.
Moodiest.
I would say, well, the first name pops in my mind is Montoya. In recent year, Montoya.
Pablo
Of course.
Montoya.
Yeah.
Ralph Schumacher?
No, Ralph was very cheerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ralph was a very cheerful chappie.
Not at the end of the Williams days, he wasn't.
Oh, who is at the end of a Williams career, but there we are. Sonoda. Who's going to guess for that? Who's the moodiest driver? What do you think, guys?
No, I don't think so.
Well, he gets very
I think
angry
it's
in a
Helmut
car,
Marko.
Well,
but apparently
yeah.
outside the car, he's extremely polite. So
Yeah.
there you go. Anyway, okay, we are definitely going to finish it there. We've done 1 hour 25. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
If the guys in chat would like me to answer a question or go and check out anything, I can do that for you guys if need be.
Montoya, it's all coming back to me, Dex
Yeah,
says.
I know.
Yeah, we all remember that. Bloody hell, bloody this, bloody that.
Fucking Raikkonen.
Cheerful is a mood, just saying. Thank you. I think that was what who was the moodiest driver? Yeah, okay, jolly good. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Of course, 2 weeks now till the next race, which is, somebody tell me quickly.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Australia. Okay.
Australia. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, Australia. We're going to be in Australia. I think the real question for us that we will answer in the next 2 weeks is who else will be in Australia? Will Helmut Marko be in Australia? Will Christian Horner be in Australia?
Will Carlos Sainz will be in Australia?
Will
Yeah,
even
good
Newey
point.
be in Italy?
Let me finish. Yeah. So, will those people be in Australia? Find out that and more on the next episode of. Let me get to my brand. Next episode of.